Hey guys, it's Matt Baker, the co-founder of the HMO platform. Now today I wanted to talk to you about how we approach dealing with lettings agents when it comes to our HMOs, because you really want to be working with HMO specific lettings agents. Your general high street agent that deals with your flats and your houses for families, they generally don't quite understand what it takes to manage an HMO. Granted, there are some exceptions out there, but to be fair, you really want to be working with an HMO agent who knows the market, understands what it's all about to be in a shared house. But the most important thing is that you want to find an agent that thinks like you and acts like you would. Someone who is going to treat that property as if it was their own. You don't just want to be another number on a whiteboard, in another room to fill. It's really important to be that person who the agent has that same will and wants to fill your rooms as opposed to maybe other rooms out there. So the first question I'd be asking is, do you and your agent have a shared vision for your properties? Or do you have a vision for your properties? So if you don't, I would suggest spend a bit of time thinking about what you want for your property, what you want that perception to be, so how you want it to be talked about, and how you want your tenants to respond and say, yes, I like this because of this reason, this reason, this reason. If you don't put that in paper before you start, then actually it's unlikely to happen. And especially if you don't communicate what you want for the property to your agent, then it's just not going to happen. So take that time, complete a vision statement, a mission statement, and maybe create a piece of A4 paper with some images, with some words on it that you want for your properties, for that experience that you want your tenants to have. And then give that to your agent. If they turn around and go, I don't like this, don't know what this is all about, or they make a joke of it, then obviously I don't think that's the agent to work with. Realistically, you want the agent to go, yeah, oh, this is fab, this gives me a lot to work with, and then that's an amazing place to be. So that's the first thing, is to make sure you have a vision, that you're aligned with your agent. Now, is your agent a solution-focused agent or a problem-focused agent? Because I've worked with agents in the past, especially when it comes to the houses, not necessarily HMOs, but with houses in particular, whereby they'll tell you a problem and then not necessarily a solution. They'll say, we'll come back to you in a couple of days with some options. And realistically, what I would like to know is, what is the solution to solve that problem? And if you're working with an agent for the first time, you're probably going to want to know what their decision-making process is, so you can see whether it aligns with yours. So similarly to the first point I made about having that vision, what is the level of service that they're going to be giving the tenants? And if there's a maintenance issue, you're probably going to give them a bit of leeway to make their own decisions, up to maybe 50 quid, 100 quid, they can go and make that maintenance change. But are they sending out tradesmen for just looking at the odd thing, like something breaking, or are they doing the common sense check? So when a tenant brings up or reports a maintenance issue, are they doing that common sense check to see whether the tenant can fix it? Because 9 times out of 10, the tenant can fix it themselves without having to send somebody around. So I have seen it where maintenance and letting agents just charge for call-out fees all the time and nothing is getting fixed. So do they think like you? Are they going to save you money, first and foremost, by not sending out unnecessary calls, but also when they do send someone out, making sure that the job gets done and gets done to the standard that you would want. So having a solution-focused agent is really important. And then communication. Some people think that property investing is a passive job. Well, it can be, but for HMOs, it's definitely not passive. And if you think that being an HMO landlord is going to be a passive way of creating income, then you'll find that your income is going to be less, your profits will be less, because if you don't actively engage with the process of dealing with your tenants and the agents, then you'll find the income going down quite quickly. So what I suggest you do is get a communication regime. Ask how the agent is going to communicate with you. Do they have an app that they use? Are they going to communicate with you via email, via WhatsApp? And how often are they going to communicate? Are they going to communicate every single problem to you? Or are you going to set them a limit and say, well, once a month or once a week, just give me a report on what's happening? And that's generally what we want, because no news isn't necessarily good news. And we found that before, whereby we might not hear anything from an agent for 3 months, and then we'll find out that this has happened, it hasn't been dealt with, because the agent's been too busy looking after a larger portfolio. and we no longer work with that agency. But yeah, so communication. So set that up at the beginning of your relationship. So get updates from the property, get feedback from the tenants. So are your agents asking the tenants what's working, what's not? And then set that in stone and get at least a monthly report with, even just a one-line message or one-line email saying everything's going great, then at least you can rest easy knowing that you're doing the best you can for your property. And that leads me on to my final point, which is a question that we ask ourselves every single month. So within our business, we have a meeting once a month to talk about the lettings and the rest of and developments, etc. in the business. And the main question we ask is, what can we do to improve the service and improve the life and improve the well-being of our tenants? And we try to come up with at least one thing that we can do to make sure that we're doing something a little bit better than we were last month. So if you ask yourself that question and you speak to your agent and include your agent in that question, then I think you're going to be in a really good, strong position. So that's just a little bit about how we deal with lettings agents. I hope you found that of value.